LeMahieu's numbers are pretty embarrassing for him. Second base, he started a game at second base, third base, and first base this season. He's batting .333 with 11 home runs, 52 ribbies, and 57 runs. What do you make of LeMahieu's first season in the Bronx? Half season.
Well, yeah, exactly. A lot of baseball left, and he's the type of guy that you want in your lineup, whether he's leading off, whether he's hitting 2 or 5 or 7. It doesn't matter. He's going to see pitches. He's a professional hitter. I mean, he's a career 301 guy, I think, as of right now. But he's 30 years old. He's kind of at that point in his career where you're not going to throw anything he really hasn't seen. He's patient enough to hit the pitches that he wants to hit in his counts. He's mature around a bunch of, got a good bit of veteran players with the Yankees. They've also got some young guys that are capable of hitting any pitch out of the park. So when you're facing a lineup like that and you can't take a pitch off mentally, it stresses you differently than it does knowing that, hey, no matter what happens to this, 7, 8, 9 is not dangerous. The one hole's not going to hit the ball out of the park, might have a long at bat, but he's capable of taking really good pitches and fouling them off. And then you finally make a mistake, hit a ball, especially in Yankee Stadium, he can hit a ball out the other way. I mean, the park plays to his strengths really well. And then he's on base. He's on base 38% of the time right now, and just finds ways to make it tough to pitch, especially as a leadoff hitter. First guy gets on in a game, and you're in the stretch right away. It just changes the way you go at it. So as far as MVP and all that stuff, I mean, those accumulated numbers come into play more on the back half of the season. To be honest, you can't win the MVP in the first half, but you can lose it. So he hasn't lost the MVP. So that's kind of the way I look at it. But from meeting his parents while I was a Detroit Tiger in 2006, 2007, when they were considering LSU or going to other places, and knowing that family and following DJ really well. I don't know him that well as far as like individually, but if I text him, I'll fire back. He's just a solid guy. He's always been a little more mature. I think if you remember back in his LSU days, he just seemed more mature than his age, and it's been the case all through his career. He never looks overwhelmed. He's a quality professional hitter.
Yeah, as the national championship team, that LSU '09 squad celebrated a decade. We still remember LeMahieu with the key clutch hit in that 3-game series against Texas that really busted it open for LSU to get them to winner circle there. All right, how about the Yankees? You were in the show in '02 when Texas did this. The Rangers hit 27 consecutive games with a home run. Last night, LeMahieu's leadoff home run for the Yankees was the 28th consecutive game. They've hit 51 home runs in 28 games. Wow. A lot of them, and a lot of these have had some of their superstars on the shelf, like Judge and Stanton went back last night with something with his knee. How good is this team?
This team's really good, and they've got the capital, obviously, to go out and get extra arms, or if Stanton's down, go get an extra bat. They went and got Encarnacion, and he looks weird with his beard shaved, but I'm pretty sure he can still have the bird. When he hits a home run, he puts his right wing up while he rounds the bases. So right or left wing, it's just funny. It's comical. But he barrels up a lot of baseballs, and DJ barrels up a lot of baseballs, and it's contagious. Anybody who's ever hit at any level knows that if the two guys before you barrel up baseballs, it just feels like you're going to barrel up a baseball. And you're fighting over the bat rack to get out there. And that's the kind of contagious hitting that goes on when a guy like DJ leads off and has a 7-pitch at bat and then hits a double. And then the next guy comes up and barrels up a baseball. I mean, and the Yankees are that type of team. It is intimidating. You've got to have guys that can miss barrels or miss bats completely when you face them. So the Red Sox actually match up well against them. But day in and day out, their lineup, 1 through 9, regardless of whether Stanton or Judge or any of those guys are rotating in and out of injuries, they're extremely difficult to get out consistently.
Talking to former World Series champion Chad Durbin on Off the Bench, 104.5, 100.3, 94.7 ESPN. Speaking of championship, Chad, tonight, winner take all, Game 3, Vanderbilt versus Michigan. Before we get there, give us a pitcher's take on Kumar Rocker's performance last night, going 6 1/3 and fan in 11.
I think last night's performance might have been a little more impressive than the 19 strikeouts and no hitter and all that stuff, and let me tell you why. because he didn't have his stuff. He didn't have command yesterday. He was the slider, he's rotating around it a little bit, left and right, hanging it a little bit more. Fastball command wasn't there. Long breaks in innings where he's sitting there for 30 minutes and then going back out there and figuring it out again. And I think for someone who's a freshman in college to be able to continue to compete and not let off the gas, and I think that's you can attest that to the coaching staff there, to his parents, to his makeup, just the kid in general. Obviously, big body, throwing the ball downhill. The camera from behind view. Even when they're talking, sometimes it's fastball, slider to show you can't tell. Sometimes you can see a ball pop out of a hand or pick up spin really early, even on a camera, and it's like, I don't really see it. And the bats are telling you the same thing. So having a guy like that go out in an elimination game for them was huge. It changed the momentum. Again, hitting's contagious, and Michigan's been hitting. Well, they weren't hitting yesterday, and sometimes that carries over into the next game. And speaking of that, I was people text during games and guys fire at you, and they're asking about Vanderbilt's a better team, right? Well, of course they're the better team, and but when it all comes down to it, I don't know which team is coached better. Eric Bakich, who's coaching Michigan, it just seems like his guys are playing the game the right way. I don't see a lot of guys getting really upset in big situations. He seems to have built them with a joy for the game, some humility caked in there. When they do mess up, they laugh. Maybe not laugh, in the wrong way, but a smile, enjoying themselves. They're not supposed to be there, which is dangerous. And then obviously you're not talking about them being better coached than Corbin's team, because Vanderbilt's always extremely well coached. So it's extremely fun to sit and watch that type of game, these types of games getting played by coaches that are at that high of a level. Their players are that talented. And Michigan, I remember seeing them in a game, middle of the year, Big Ten channel. I just, let me see what these Big Ten kids look like. I'm watching Michigan play, and I'm thinking, that's a really good team. It's hard for me to believe that they were one pitch away from getting beat in the Big Ten tournament, not making it at all.
Go
They're
0-2
right now, talking about how good they were. So it proves the parity. The SEC is the best conference in baseball and in most sports. But when you get to see a team from the Big Ten, and you get to see, hey man, they have some big guys that can swing it, that can throw it, that can play defense, that can do all this stuff across the board. They have some depth, maybe not in their pen, which was an Achilles heel last night, but they've been good out of the pen. So I've enjoyed it. It's been hard to switch out of college baseball mode into pro baseball mode for me. And most years, that's not the case. I'm always watching MLB games, but it's been fun to follow this all the way through. And I know for the LSU fans, it's like their girlfriend broke up with them, so they're not following them on Instagram anymore and all that crap. We're not watching it, but it's been high-quality baseball all the way through.
30 seconds. Who wins tonight?
Oh, man, I really got to think that Vanderbilt, the momentum's back.
Yeah.
They've proven they can win. It's if I had to make a bet, it's them. But I've really, really enjoyed watching Michigan play, and it would be fun to watch them go out and win a game tonight. And hopefully it's close. Hopefully it's 9 innings of good baseball. But that's who Vanderbilt's probably going to win this game.
Enjoy the game. Thank you for the information this morning, Durbs. Talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Good talk.
There he is,
Let
Chad
it
Durbin,
down.
every Wednesday here on Off the Bench. We'll be back and close out hour 1.